The President, Congress, and the EPA want to define as a matter of law, not science, carbon dioxide, which you exhale as you breathe, as a pollutant, which in turn must be reduced and regulated. And without getting into great detail, most of you are very smart out there. As you well know, the Supreme Court had a role in this as well, but I'll save that for another day. And in order to do this, the federal government would have the power to dictate carbon dioxide emission levels and fine and punish those who exceed them. In essence, this would empower the government to dictate economic and personal decisions at virtually every level. And keep in mind, carbon dioxide is actually a very small fraction of greenhouse gases. And greenhouse gases are part of the atmosphere. If we didn't have greenhouse gases, this planet would freeze. Now, let me give you an example of how minuscule carbon dioxide is. If you had a stadium with 10,000 seats, carbon dioxide would account for 4. And that the reason they focus on carbon dioxide is it's the only part of the greenhouse gases they can actually measure. You know what the biggest greenhouse gas is? It's water vapor. It's kind of hard to control water vapor, but my guess is they'll try. Reminds me of the Kellogg-Briand Act of 1920, whatever it was, when everybody got together and passed a law outlawing war. Did you know that? War is illegal. Anyway, despite the evidence, Congress and the administration are hell-bent on using junk science to get their hands around our society and control everything from the light bulbs we are legally permitted to use in our homes to livestock flatulence. Now, as I wrote in Liberty and Tyranny, so distant is America today from its founding principles that it is difficult to precisely describe the nature of the American government. It's not strictly a constitutional republic, because the Constitution has been and continues to be easily altered by a judicial oligarchy. No offense, Judge. By a judicial oligarchy, excluding you, that most enforces, if not expands, the statist agenda. It is not strictly a representative republic because so many edicts are produced by a maze of administrative departments that are unknown to the public and detached from its sentiment. And it's not strictly a federal republic because the states that gave the central government life now live at its behest. So what is it? It's a society steadily transforming towards statism. And if the conservative does not come to grips with the significance of this transformation, he will be devoured by it. That said, in the face of this onslaught, it would be suicidal for us to abandon our principles. We must teach these principles. They've been passed to us from past generations and have proven themselves throughout history of mankind to be the right principles. Now is not the time to compromise. Who shall we compromise with? Which principle shall we surrender? And to what end? If we can't stand up to this soft tyranny, then when will we stand up? Now is not the time to lower our voices. Now is the time to be heard loud and clear. And if we are not resolute, given what's going on today, then when will we be resolute? You are all intelligent and motivated folks. Your society is under attack. Our governmental institutions are being used against us. I know it upsets some people when I talk this way, but we don't have time to play word games, in my humble opinion. We don't have time to deny reality. These people are trying to dispirit you. They're trying to overwhelm you. They want you to accept their agenda as inevitable. They want you to give up, but we're not going to give up. See, I'm not yelling, I'm just talking. You're booming. Now, you're extremely crucial for this battle. You are the generals, whether you like it or not. It took decades to get to this point, and it will take decades to contain and unravel it. The statist never gives up, and neither can we. We must become more engaged in public matters. It is our nature to live and let live, to attend to our family, to volunteer, and to quietly assist a friend or a neighbor or even a stranger. These are certainly admirable qualities that contribute to the overall health of the community and the civil society. But it's no longer enough. I like that song. Is that a New Deal song? When the Saints come marching in? What is that? All right. Happy days are here again? Okay. Now.
Well, he was so inspired.
He was. Now, if we're to win this struggle, it will require reinforcements. It will require a new generation of activists, larger in number, shrewder, and more articulate than before, who seek to blunt the status counter-revolution. And I mean counter-revolution as counter to the American Revolution. More conservatives than before will need to seek elective and appointed office, fill the ranks of the administrative state, hold teaching positions, become judges, advocates, become school teachers, university professors, find positions in Hollywood and media where they can make a difference in infinite ways. The statist does not have a birthright ownership to these institutions. We must fight for them, mold them, and where appropriate, eliminate them. Parents and grandparents must take it upon themselves to teach their children and grandchildren to believe in and appreciate the principles of the American civil society and stress the importance of preserving and improving this society. They will need to teach their offspring that the statist threatens their generation's liberty and prosperity, and to resist ideologically alluring trends. And in this regard, back to this all-important issue of language, the statist has also become masterful at controlling the public vocabulary. For example, when challenged on global warming, he accuses the skeptic of being a denier, favoring corporate polluters, or being against saving the planet. Draconian measures that threaten liberty and prosperity, such as cap and trade, are marketed in appealing and benign slogans, such as going green. The statist never destroys, he reforms. He never disenfranchises, he empowers. President Reagan understood the power of words. He deconstructed the statist propaganda and framed the debate on his own terms. Here's an example. He once said, "How can limited government and fiscal restraint be equated with lack of compassion for the poor? How can a tax break that puts a little more money in the weekly paychecks of working people be seen as an attack on the needy? Since when do we in America believe that our society is made up of two diametrically opposed classes, one rich, one poor, both in a permanent state of conflict, and neither able to get ahead except at the expense of the other? Since when do we in America accept this alien and discredited theory of social and class warfare? Since when do we in America endorse the politics of envy and division?" We can beat these people. We can beat them if we engage them and we use our heads and we use our knowledge. Now, some on our side want us to forget Reagan. I say we still have much to learn from him. Now, let me close with a final quote from Reagan. It's an excerpt from a speech he gave entitled "Encroaching Control, the Peril of an Ever-Expanding Government." He said, and it's in the book, so many of you may have heard it by now, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free." So we all need to get busy. Thank you very much. Do you want me to take any questions?
Mark is very happy to take questions, so people should begin to line up at the microphone there.